So, in summary, after the terrible catastrophe that was the last live streams, just to outline the points, I didn't get around to outlining because the shit became such a distracted mess. It ended up turning into a weekend shebang, little party recap. Whole situation with Trump. I think we kind of met a crossroads of being equally as intense as him, as MAGA supporters, as Trump supporters, and people in this conspiracy realm of stuff, because it was kind of like a real knee-jerk reaction from everybody. Seen so many videos of people immediately being like, Trump, you need to fucking da-da-da-da, you know. And I think, so we're going like this. We're on this mission just as much as him with this intensity, right? And so the moment some kind of a crossing of the streams happens, then it's a violent kind of collision there. It's kind of good to make these videos like this where I pause my own thought and then sort of reiterate it after a little bit of baking in the oven. But what I mean by this is I'm like, Trump already put the whole Epstein phase 1 and whatever the hell else was supposed to follow it in motion, staff working on it kind of deal. So he's focused on all these trade deals with his momentum and stuff. And so he feels kind of like this shit should be taken care of. It's like if you play in Metal Gear Solid, you send guys off on a mission and then you go to cook something and then you get back to your room and you find that the game froze when the loading bar was halfway there, so the mission wasn't completed, and you're upset. So you got blindsided with us bitching about a frozen loading bar is basically where I'm coming at with this. And the reason why I bring this up, I don't even know if I even got remotely around to it, trying to explain my thinking to the concept of what Alex was saying when he was like, in the fight politically, Trump has blacked out. In the fight. And this is good because I thought of a better way. This is just a concept that I haven't really outlined in anything. The only thing, like I said in this video, cyberpunk, for instance, people talk about cyberpsychosis as a reference to just being tired and messing around in the game. You no longer are doing any of the missions, but that's not even as good of a way to describe it. It's more like when I'm playing Skyrim or Fallout. Anybody who's played RPGs is probably familiar with this feeling, but let's say you've been playing fucking Skyrim or Fallout all night, and you're getting tired. You're going on multiple hours of Fallout and Skyrim. And so in your tired impatience, you end up reaching a point and it almost structures my sessions of playing the game. Because what'll happen is I'll start off my session of playing the game calm and relaxed. I'm well rested. I'm not going 1,000 miles an hour off of a bunch of coffee. I start off my session with organizing all the shit from the last session. I go to whatever vendors and sell whatever stuff. Then I, read quest stuff and start doing missions. Fast forward hours later. In your tiredness, you start to get impatient, and I used that word to describe this, but you don't want to sit there organizing the fucking alchemy ingredients and the spare parts and the ammunition. You just don't got the fucking patience for that shit anymore. You get back to your base where you store stuff and you dump all the loot that you got into one container, and then you go back out. You don't got the patience or the energy. It's funny because you're still playing the game, but you're too tired to listen to somebody's long ass dialogue sequence to do the next quest. So you're just like, but you're not really ready to stop either yet. Not ready to go to bed. So you just fucking go over to the next bunch of random enemies to fucking kill. Got a bit distracted there. Trying to use that kind of an analogy. And one of my friends. The point I wanted to make is that and what he was meaning by that was, you know, just the speed and veracity of how quickly everything has moved. Yeah, so what I was getting at, got distracted with a trip to the store, but now I remember what I was talking about, so that's great when my brain works. Good job, brain. So, yeah, like what happens is, towards the end of your session, you don't have like the fucking, it's not that you don't have the attention span. I'm struggling for terms to describe this, but I believe I'm doing a better job in this description than Alex Jones did, because I know what he means. I get the concept. I just feel like my way of describing it as a gamer is much better. But basically, you no longer want to organize. You don't want to do any of the little tedious shit. You know? You don't even really want to do side quests. All you want to do once you get to that last few hours of gameplay where you're just ripping along before you go to bed is you want to kill random enemy after random enemy. You just want to fight mad random enemies. You know, you don't want to do any of the tedious shit. So it's like, it's not like that you're out of energy or that you're losing skill, like I was saying. Like, I'm clarifying my own shit too. You know, I was using the analogy of, like, you start driving sloppy in GTA, and, you know, you start being like, I'm going to make it only a couple of blocks before I crash my car. I guess it's kind of different, because I'm not saying, like, he's crashing the car, like, making huge mistakes. I'm saying, I feel like he was surprised by, like, he's focusing on other things, and he gets blindsided with this, our intense demand. He's surprised by it. We're surprised by his intensity back with the fuck off with it. And keep in mind also, I haven't even really begun my news day today, and this video is from, you know, this video isn't from today, so I'm not saying that these are cemented things. I'm just trying to explain the kind of position that, like, as a historical piece, kind of, this is the thought process. It doesn't matter what is or where we end up. Like, and that kind of, this is how we got here. Thing, and then, so you're heading on a certain course, you know, of momentum, and then you get sideswiped by some shit. You see what I'm saying? Focusing on trade deals, you're having success here, peace deals, all of a sudden, Epstein bullshit, and didn't I tell you to take care of that, and fucking, what's going on? And like halfway through all of this, writing this in a caption, I was like, yeah, that's why I meant to do the video, because I was like, a lot. I'm not going to sit here write a freaking book about it. But so I would liken it closer to I would almost it's almost it's a pretty new term. Reference to cyberpunk, cyberpsychosis. And the way people use that in the gamosphere is a very interesting reference phenomenon that I'm sure we've all noticed if you play video games. I mean, you do it in real life too. You start your day at a certain tempo, and then as you get tired, and in the back of your head, sitting down is a thing that's going to happen at some point, you start doing the tasks that are in the way of you sitting down with quicker and with less patience, and you're quicker to jump to anger. Some tedious crap gets in your way. That happens to me all the time. Like, you start playing something, like you play Grand Theft Auto or whatever, and when you first start playing it in the session that day, playing it, say, for 6 hours, right? When you first start playing it, you're driving calmly, you're careful. Almost goes back to my Cyberpunk and Red Dead Redemption, what makes gaming satisfying gameplay and stuff, videos, but not in the same kind of way. Like, basically, what I was getting at when I was writing the shit, and I was like, screw this, I should just talk about it, is like, you're moving fast, you're tired towards the end of your session, and you're like impatient, and you just start making stupid mistakes. You start crashing your fucking car every 15 minutes if you're playing Grand Theft Auto. See, that's why I wanted to make those clarifications, because I'm not saying, like, necessarily stupid mistakes and you're crashing your car, even though, like, you're kind of sending a bad turn signal to the rest of us, causing the rest of us to crash into the wall. Like the statements that I made on this early on last weekend, I went into a couple of live chats and saw all the libs trolling Chumpstein. I got a couple of libs in my group, and one of them finally just caught up with what was going on and has posted, sitting in my pending section, some goofy ass meme about it. And it's like, come on. It's a new level of goofy. It is as goofy as socialists calling us Nazis. People that were voting for easily verifiable out in the open pedophiles like Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, a real pedophile protector. Literally how she started her career, protecting pedophiles. People whose platforms, there's no option to hold Hillary or Joe Biden's feet to the fire with regards, sorry Democrats, wake up, grip onto the planet before you fall off and fly into the next fucking universe. You're not living in this one. So bizarre and jarring and just downright fucking annoying because they're so uppity and arrogant about it too. Like, they're just the whole time with all of it because they're too ignorant to question themselves. But it's as dumb as socialists calling us Nazis. There was no option for you. Stop pretending, stop playing games and acting like you have any kind of moral high ground. There was no option for your candidates to have their feet held to the fire because declassifying the Epstein documents wasn't at all part of the platform. It would be like if Democrats started out of nowhere complaining that the F-35 program didn't go fucking swimmingly. Like, when the fuck... Since when do you care, asshole? Shut the fuck up. Stop trying to act like you have some kind of high ground over here. Out of your mind, these libs. That kind of thing. So... I feel like that's a better terminology than blacked out. Like... And I feel like what I'm doing right now, Alex could take his own video where he used that bit of terminology in fighting reference, in political reference to fighting, and didn't really explain it much. And here I went and tried to explain it, and now I'm adding more explanation to my own video. Part of the reason why I like my explanations of shit to be so deep like this, and I really try to give things thought, is because I want my position on things to be as clear as possible, so that if you ask me a question, your question can be the right question. Like, I didn't leave some shit unclarified or fucking make a mistake or forget to think of something. Your question then is lacking some ingredients because you're missing some of the knowledge that you would use to formulate it. Therefore, my answer is also going to be garbage. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to be clear about stuff. I was struggling to describe it, moving fast. I don't know, but you know, and the same kind of thing happened with me too in the news cycle of reporting it, where I guess it had happened several days before I had gotten to it and heard about it, because I was focused on the momentum of certain, like, the border news and the war news. I was watching a lot of certain channels, right? And then we had, and I'll have like a bunch of shit in my watch later that you fucking asshole, had this shift where I'm focusing on the Alex Jones show just to get the lowdown on this Epstein stuff, because that hit me from left field or whatever, you know, not a surprise. Point is I can't enjoy some beers on the weekend, because every time I get drunk on the weekend and stop paying attention to the news for a couple of days, it seems I wake up next week and a whole fucking shitstorm has happened, and then I gotta like spend the next few days catching up with it all, because I'm like, what the hell? The hell is this? We have like some basic things that, like, I feel like we just threw everything, all logic, out the window. We got real freaked out the moment we saw, like, we got political PTSD. We're used to getting fucked over and shit not working out. And so the moment we sensed any kind of hesitation, and he basically was just like, shut up, fucking, like, yeah, I get it. It's one, like, the way I be talking about fucking Call of Duty online, like, that's one aspect of a much larger thing, the whole presidency, you know, one document being declassified. See what I'm saying? And a lot of big things are going on. So, you get where I'm going here, you're moving like a freight train. On that day, so this is what I was getting at, is like, I feel like if we outline a few things here. So, number one, the Epstein list being declassified was not a part of the Democrat platform. That was some shit they wanted swept under the rugs and forgotten about. Number two, if he had done anything, not only would they have used it by now, but he wouldn't have started the whole declassification process to begin with. Wouldn't have drawn so much focus to it. So we can outline these bare bones understandings of reality and shit. And the stuff I'm hearing now is just goofy. They're like, oh, he drew a picture of a naked lady on a letter. I honestly, I don't even buy that. this point. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, I can totally see, I can totally see somebody in the government being like, yeah, we'll type up this fake letter. At this point, with the Pissgate shit and all the other totally fake, fabricated stories from the intelligence agencies and the rest of the government over the years that we've had Trump in the political sphere, like, I'm totally at this point, yeah, no, I have no doubt that somebody sat there and typed up a fake letter, and then I'm just imagining the stupidest stick figure squiggle tits having drawing like Alex has drawn several times as examples. But yeah, we're just getting stupid stuff now. Like, yeah, he drew like a naked woman on a, yeah. So okay. These bottom line things. Established that. So now I feel like what happened was, as I was saying, you know, moving like a freight train kind of thing, in the way that gamers get sort of impatient, and then you start making mistakes, and there's like, you change your gameplay too. There's like,
that's the part
stuff, if you're in,
that's the
like,
part
RPG,
I was explaining earlier.
Choices, and it's not just playing the campaign of like a first-person shooter where it's very linear. Like, there's different activities. This is just an analogy. This is just like really looking for a way to.
So I couldn't really fully formulate the thought at the time.
Explain this at least better than he blacked out in the political fight. Like it feels to me like he started this process of declassifying the files, and then while that loading bar is loading, at some point some shit was discovered where it wasn't, whatever it is, it's not anything that was ever good enough that the Democrats would use it and think it would be effective, because they didn't. But it is enough that it would be a fucking pain in the ass, and especially, you know, whatever it is, almost it would have been better if it had been used, because it would have been less effective. Not that, like, I mean, this is like fiat effect, in the sense that
he's already president,
right off the bat,
too.
And this is another point. Already right off the bat, the left, you know, when I went in those live chats, I was fucking amazed having to talk to these people, and they're just, you know, they're on their usual trolling pattern of just saying a couple of words over and over again. And it's usually like maggots, MAGA Nazis, da-da-da-da, but they never really have any kind of debate or anything that they can say. They just kind of hope that you'll get mad because you're being called a Nazi. But so, you see what I'm saying? So politically, well, I mean, politically, the goofy-ass establishment left will only feel as confident as their rabid base appears to be in them. So for them to make moves, they need their base energized. So
same with us.
So when they're already such lunatics right off the bat that we're like, we were like, you know, a couple of days.
Like, that's what I said with the I slightly disagree with True Stream Media video I made a while back about when RFK started banning a few of the food dyes, like the Red 40, I think it was. And then shortly after that came out with a list on the FDA's website of all the other shit in the food that was toxic, and TruthStream was like, well, so what? You published a list of all the toxic shit in the food. That doesn't do anything or help me. And I was like, yeah, but think about it on the deeper level of now it's out there for us to flip out about. And if we flip out about it in support of RFK, then that gives him the power in his base to push forward. Because politics, you know, we forget
sometimes that these are representatives. Like you don't just it's like a football team. You don't just send your football team, you don't just cheer while they're training, while they're getting elected, and then you send them off to the regular season and hope they win the fucking games. Meanwhile, the other side's team is screaming away, distracting them. The energy isn't there. They're looking in the stands. Nobody's supporting them. Your constituents. So how are you supposed to go about going up against all these industrial forces and lobbyists and things in the government when they don't see anybody behind you, is my point with that. So you gotta generate the outrage. Post this terrible handling of the situation by Trump. And I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh if Alex at some point says, "Oh, Trump." If Alex says this is 1D chess or 3D chess or whatever, instead of 15 trillion D chess with all the Q nonsense and all the other shit, even 3D chess is stupid at this point. To be like, oh yeah, he said all this shit to get everybody flipping the fuck out about the Epstein files so that there would be no fucking opposition to them being declassified. You know, think about it. Our base is more pissed off than ever trying to get this shit declassified. We're yelling at Trump to do that, while the dumbass libs are yelling at us about it, which I mentioned in this video, I'm pretty sure. That whole kind of funny dynamic there. But if you think about it, hypothetically speaking, the only people that are sitting there sweating are all the people that went to the island and are in the fucking file for real, not just a couple of plane trips from Miami to New York. So, we'll see what this develops into. On this crazy level where they're just like, Trumpstein. I was like, wow, you know, because no irony, that's, wow, like, or the irony, I mean, you know? So yeah, like, and I'm not sure, hey, maybe next weekend or whenever I'll go on YouTube and search around and see what the debate is looking like. And maybe we will, you know, I have a feeling like it's going to be a short-lived, you know, and they'll rewind, they'll have to go back because that ain't going to work. But it was annoying. I had to get... And it's kind of funny, too, the delayed reaction of the cycles of this. Like it happened. It took a couple of days for me to catch up on it. I started reporting on it. The libs in my group still hadn't fucking caught on. Now we've turned the corner. Special prosecutor counsel announced Trump reverse course on being a dick about the Epstein files. And so we're kind of like semi not talking about it anymore, regardless of still going to keep the awareness going like we have done for years. Epstein didn't kill himself. Like Christmas lights, these things don't hang themselves. But so I guess what is it going to take a few days? Like I'm gonna get a wave of attacks from the goofy liberals over the next few days. Attacks like in military terms, like you launched planes 3 days ago or some shit. My tanks are way out of the fucking way now. You're bombing an empty spot. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, it seems, for the next few days, is I'm probably gonna see some stupid lib nonsense that should have been posted like 2 or 3 days ago. If you really wanted it, not that it would have had any, once again, fiat effect, but not that it would have had any lasting effect. But if you really wanted to do some political hits, now it's just you know, as weak sauce as everything else they say. Like the whole fucking whole spiel, the whole speech. I had to give like the whole speech in order to shut them the fuck up. It was funny as hell. I might as well clarify the whole speech. So the whole speech, this is going to be a long video. The whole speech is pretty simple, really. It's kind of difficult to pitch it in a fucking YouTube live chat. But first, I outlined all of the things that I've outlined so far. You know, you libs popping out of the woodwork. You don't find yourselves cringe popping out of the woodwork after years of the conspiracy theory crowd talking about Christmas lights don't hang themselves. Alex Jones literally selling a Christmas shirt of Epstein hanging Christmas lights is how hard body we were with this shit, keeping the memes around. A cultural phenomenon to the degree where Trump thought, hey, you know, I should make this part of my platform. People seem to care about it. Don't pretend like you gave a fuck. Don't pretend like you're doing anything other than just popping out like a fucking dick after the fact for political brownie points. Just because you think you can say something doesn't mean you should. Shut up. But so everything else that I outlined and the whole hold his feet to the fire concept. And I'm like, you really care about the fucking Epstein files? Alright, well, dig this. What I just said, plus the hold his feet to the fire concept, and how does that work? Well, and this is what I said, have you seen Nancy Pelosi's stock trading record and half the establishment libtards and Republicans' stock trading records? Alright? You really think there's any way for you to control Nancy fucking Pelosi or these people? You can very easily stop going to Trump hotels, stop going to Trump golf courses, stop going to Trump casinos. Very easy to boycott him. You can't boycott unless you make a law Nancy Pelosi from being on the fucking stock market. So I don't exactly understand. And I said to him, you know you're supposed to be in control of your public representatives, right? Not the other way around. I don't know exactly where the fuck they think they have some leverage as a base to tell their representatives what the fuck to do. Where is your consequences that you can present to Nancy fucking Pelosi? You really think if you stop, if the handful of idiots that still vote for her, like who the fuck even runs against her? You see what I'm saying? So, and if I mean, it's almost perfect. It's almost perfect. If we're sitting here a few years from now and Trump hasn't motherfucking, I mean, I think to the end of the year is fair. I don't want to go through New Year's Eve and be starting off next year with this bullshit still being a thing. I think that's fair. Fucking, this shit better be done by next year. And that's not even like a threat from me. Like, oh, I'm gonna turncoat and start bashing Trump over just the fucking Epstein shit. Like, criticizing him on that. And be in the awkward position Alex is in, where I gotta fucking report the good stuff, defend from libtard attacks that aren't even occupying the same fucking dimension as us, and criticize Trump at the same time for this shit. Like, no. He's got his little bit of Ah, this is the left. This is the left in a nutshell. Every time they try to say something, every time they try to make a political attack, this is what I think of. Every time I see one of those lib posts and then I get to respond to it, it's so good. This every time I see it.